The next important event occurred in the 4th year of Hijrah. We talked about Umayyah bin Amr al-Damri. Actually, I think I didn't mention this. Umayyah al-Damri, he saw 2 men sleeping under a tree. He asked them, who do you belong to? So they said, we belong to so-and-so tribe. And this was the tribe that killed the 70 men, the Qurra. So he went aside until they fell asleep and he killed them. He thought that he had done something right by killing these 2 men because they belonged to this treacherous tribe. But it turned out that these 2 men had an agreement with Rasulullah ﷺ. These 2 men specifically had a peace agreement with Rasulullah ﷺ. So Rasulullah said to Umayyah bin Amr al-Damri, you have killed 2 men, I'm going to have to pay their blood money. So these men were killed mistakenly, they shouldn't have been killed. Therefore Rasulullah ﷺ is going to have to pay their blood money. Now you see here the ruling that لا يقتل مسلم بكافر. A Muslim is not killed for the sake of a disbeliever. That's an important rule of fiqh. So even though Umayyah here killed 2 men that shouldn't have been killed, he is not executed, but the Muslims pay their blood money. So this is an important rule of fiqh. Now remember that Rasulullah ﷺ had an agreement with the Jewish tribes that they would support each other in blood money. That was mentioned in the wathiqah that we read. They would support each other in blood money. So Rasulullah ﷺ goes with Abu Bakr, Umar, some of the other Sahaba. They go to Banu Nadir, this Jewish tribe called Banu Nadir. They go to them and they said, Rasulullah ﷺ tells them, these 2 men have been killed, so I want you to support me in paying their blood money. They said, we agree, and we will help you, O Muhammad. Rasulullah ﷺ is sitting under this wall of theirs, and they pretend that they're going to bring money to help Rasulullah ﷺ while they went to conspire and plan on how to assassinate him. They said, you're never going to find him in a better position to assassinate than this. He's right under your wall, have somebody climb up and throw a stone on him, and let's get rid of him once and for all. Let's get rid of this problem. So they conspired to assassinate the messenger of Allah Azza wa Jal. Something, this is not new. They have tried to do that with Isa alayhi salam. They've tried to do that with plenty of other messengers of Allah. Sometimes they succeeded, sometimes they failed. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam receives revelation from Allah Azza wa Jal. Jibreel comes to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and warns him. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stands up and leaves without telling the Sahaba anything. He just leaves. He walks away. So the Sahaba are waiting. Rasulullah doesn't show up. They go and inquire. They go back to Medina and ask, where is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And he told them what happened. That Jibreel came and told me that the Jews were planning to assassinate me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sends them a letter. He tells Muhammad ibn Maslama to go to them and tell them, Inna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam arsalani ilaykum an ikhruju min biladi. لقد نقضتم العهد الذي جعلت لكم مما هممتم به من الغدر وقد أجلتكم 10 فمن رؤي بعد منكم ضربت عنقه. This is in Tabaqat ibn Sa'd. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sends Muhammad ibn Maslama. He tells them, go to the Jews of Banu Nadir and tell them, I am sent by the messenger of Allah, and he is telling you to leave from his land because you have betrayed our agreement by conspiring against me. And I give you 10 days to leave. Anyone seen after that will be executed. So you have 10 days to pack up and leave. Otherwise, anybody who will be seen will be killed. Now Muhammad ibn Maslama was their ally in the time of Jahiliyyah. They said, we wouldn't expect, the last person we would have expected to come and deliver this message to us would be you, Muhammad bin Maslama. Muhammad responded back and said, Islam has changed us and our hearts are different. Now things are different. Now we're Muslims. Now our loyalty goes to Allah Azza wa Jal. And our covenant with Allah Azza wa Jal is more important than our former covenants with you. And our agreement with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to support him and help him and obey him is more important than our former agreements with you. تغيرت القلوب ومحى الإسلام العهود. Our hearts are different and Islam has abrogated the covenants. Their initial reaction was to accept and leave peacefully. But Abdullah ibn Ubay, the head of Nifaq, the head of the hypocrites, he tells them, if you stay firm and resist, we will not give up on you. If you fight, we will fight along with you. And if you are expelled, we will leave with you. Pretty straightforward. We are going to stand side by side. Do not leave, stay put and fight. And we will help you. And he told them, I have 2,000 men from my people and from our other Arabs who are sympathetic to our cause. Don't leave. So this strengthened the Yahud and they changed their mind. And they decided to stay and fight. Rasulullah said, when he heard the news, he said, Harabat Yahud. The Jews want to fight. So Rasulullah lays siege to their territory. By the way, let me go back to the message that was sent to them through Muhammad bin Muslim. I notice here that Rasulullah said, نَخْرُجُ مِن بِلَادِي, leave from my land. So now Rasulullah is calling Medina his land. He's not a guest anymore. This is his land. And this also shows you the obedience that the people of Medina gave to Rasulullah so that Rasulullah was now ruling over them, even though he's not from Medina, and this becomes his territory. And it's named after him, Madinat Rasulullah, the city of Rasulullah. That's the meaning of Medina. It's called Madinat Rasulullah, the city of Rasulullah. Anyway, Rasulullah lays siege to the fortresses of Banu Nadir. And Banu Nadir were rich. And they had these fortresses, and then outside they had acres and acres of agriculture land, palm groves, which they depended on for their livelihood. So their plan was to remain in their fortresses until Muhammad ﷺ and the Muslims get tired and leave them. They have water, they have food, they have money, so they can survive a long siege. And again, their livelihood was based on these, or at least part of their livelihood was based on the palm groves. Rasulullah ﷺ used a strategy that completely baffled al-Yahud and probably was the cause of their surrender. Rasulullah ﷺ started burning down their palm trees. Now, this drove the Yahud crazy because, what are we going to stay and do in Medina if we lose all of our farmland? Why carry on the fight? Our existence in Medina depends at least partially on these farms, and if they are destroyed, and here we're talking about trees that take years to bear fruit. So if Rasulullah ﷺ burns them down, how long will it take us to plant them again, and how will we live until then? So this completely took them by surprise. And they sent to Muhammad ﷺ and they told him, "O Muhammad, you used to forbid causing destruction and criticize those who did so. Why are you cutting down and burning our date palms?" See, the reason why it took the Yahud by surprise is that they didn't expect Muhammad to do so. Muhammad ﷺ used to prevent people from causing destruction, unnecessary destruction of property. And we know that in Islam there are some commands given by Rasulullah ﷺ not to cut down trees. وَلَا تَقْطَعُوا شَجَرَةً. And now Muhammad ﷺ is doing that himself. So the Yahud were surprised and they told Muhammad ﷺ what's going on. كُنْتَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَسَادِ فِي الْأَرْضِ. You used to tell people not to do this, and now you're doing it yourself. Now we'll come back to that later on and talk about why Rasulullah ﷺ did that. And Allah says,
ما قطعتم من لينة أو تركتموها قائمة على أصولها فبإذن الله وليخزي الفاسقين.
Whatever you have cut down of their palm trees or left standing on their trunks, it was by the permission of Allah, and so He would disgrace the defiantly disobedient. So we go back to this issue of Muhammad ﷺ telling people not to destroy property, and then he did it himself. First of all, this was done by the permission of Allah, according to this ayah. فَبِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ was by the permission of Allah. The ones that you cut down and the ones that remain, that was by the permission of Allah. Why? وَلِيُخْزِيَ الْكَافِرِينَ. He would disgrace the defiantly disobedient. Rasulullah ﷺ has given instructions that trees should not be cut down, women, children, and old men should not be killed. He also said that monks who are in monasteries should not be killed. However, we find that with every one of these rules, there are incidents that go against the rule. So here in Ghazwat bin al-Nadir, Rasulullah ﷺ has given orders to burn the palms down. So that is against the ruling of cutting down trees. And then there's what is called bayat, and this is attacking at night. You attack the dwellings of people at night, and the residents are killed. And Salama bil Akwa said, I myself participated in bayat, and I killed the residents of 9 houses with my own hand. And this is in Sahih Muslim. Now obviously here you have men, women, children killed because it's at night and they can't be distinguished. So this goes against the ruling of not killing women, children, and old men. And then we also know that Rasulullah ﷺ has ordered the execution of 2 women, and one of those women was the woman who tried to poison Rasulullah ﷺ, a Yahudi woman. She was executed by Rasulullah ﷺ. And we know that there were incidences where old men were killed. So this goes against that ruling. And with the killing of monks, we know that Salah ad-Din, for example, would specifically, even though he was very tolerant with the Crusaders, he would not let the members of the military religious orders, such as the Templars or the Hospitallers, he wouldn't let them go free. He would kill them. They were all executed if they would land in his hands. And these were monks. These were religious men. So this goes against the instruction of not killing monks. So what's going on here? How come we have this contradiction? The answer to that is the following. Islam is a tolerant religion. And the religion of Islam has laid down rules for engagement. There are rules that govern jihad fi sabilillah. And these rules are to protect the rights of others and to protect innocent life. However, whenever the enemy tries to take advantage of these rules and harm the Muslims, these rules are suspended. So if the enemy tries to take advantage of Muslims by using these restrictions against them, then the Muslims are allowed to put those rules aside. To sum it up, Islam will not allow its tolerance to be used against it. So in this situation here, Rasulullah ﷺ ordered the cutting down of the trees of Banu Nadir, because Banu Nadir were planning on a long siege and they were depending on their palm trees, while they deserved the punishment because of their betrayal and because of their plotting to assassinate Rasulullah ﷺ. So Rasulullah ﷺ did not allow them to use his rules against the Muslims, and therefore he ordered the cutting down of trees.